You have to be able to practice honesty, righteousness, and grace. I'm going to say it again. If you ever want to live a life of authenticity, it is going to require you as a prerequisite to live a life of righteousness, honesty, and grace. You have to be righteous because you got to keep doing right by people, and you got to keep doing right by yourself. The more people see you taking care of yourself, doing right by yourself, everything around you is flourishing, okay, and it's becoming fruitful. There's nothing fruitless about you. There's nothing around you that's not bearing anything tangible, evidential when it comes to operating or reaching to a mark of abundance. Whenever there's evidence of that, there's always going to be someone in the background, no matter how much bad they heard of you. They're going to think twice before they allow those words to pierce their spirit again concerning you. And so when you're righteous and you treat others right, you treat yourself right, it's naturally going to allow and call people that are also righteous in your life, which can help create a sense of abundance in your life to where things are no longer abstract and you just sitting here twiddling your thumb, looking in the ceiling, hoping somebody will swarm in the cape to help you and push you and cultivate you and edify you. You wouldn't have to worry about any of those things because those things will naturally call in as a reflection of your heart. You see, you have to be righteous. Now, you're also going to be required to be honest because nobody wants a liar, right? And even if it's something you have to be honest about that is not all that good to talk about. You understand? It says it in the New Testament that anybody who says that sin is not in them, they are a liar and the truth is not in them. Even myself. I have some things I'm not so happy or proud about. And I don't mind sharing it, but I will only share it when the Lord puts it on my heart for the sake of touching somebody else's. You see what I'm saying? Not everything needs to be shared. Not everything needs to be expressed. Not everything needs to be exposed. It's not to be secretive. It's just like I said in my past videos. You don't tell your right hand what your left hand is doing. You don't tell your left hand what your right hand is doing. And it's just all about discretion. It's not about playing games or anything like that. Sometimes you can only share when the Lord allows you to, puts it in your spirit because it's necessary for that season. It's necessary for that moment. It's going to help set somebody that's captive in that same situation free. Or at least give some people a better way of thinking on how to get themselves out of it, even if they're not ready yet. But anyway, that's why honesty is important. And let me share this too when it comes to honesty, when it comes to reaching to a place of abundance. You can never get to a place of abundance. Like I said before, the first one is righteousness, right? And the second one is honesty. The reason why you have to be honest also is because when we don't want to be honest, we have a tendency to fabricate stories. Not only about others, but naturally it's about ourselves because what we don't understand is the more you try to expose someone else, the more you expose yourself. Subconsciously, of course. People don't know that they do this, but they do. They do stuff like that. They will expose, this person this person that. Oh, they not all that holy. Oh, they not all that good. They just like everybody else. They put on their shoes one foot at a time. They pants on one leg at a time like everybody else. And yes, that is true. But is it really true about everything that you share about them? Whether it's a lie or it's the truth, because how much of that was once confidential that's no longer confidential because you got in your feelings and you felt like you wanted to share something. And God didn't even put it on your heart. See, the only time I know the N in my Miss Awaken means never judging. But let me backtrack on that for the sake of this particular segment that I'm talking to you. The only time we have the ability to judge a person, a thing, a dynamic, a entity is if God allows us to. He has to give us that task. He has to put that assignment on our lives in that season. But it will always be for a reason. And when we utilize that task, when we take on that task and that assignment, when we know that's what it is, we have to then judge justly. There is a just way to make sure that the scales of justice have prevailed. You see what I'm saying? And you only do that when the Lord puts that on your heart. So a lot of people would say, you can't speak judgment. Who said you don't know what the Lord told me to do? Huh? And then nobody knows what the Lord told you to do. Okay? Let me tell you something. If I'm doing something wrong, I'm quick to receive the rebuke. Right? But you just better know what you're talking about if you're going to correct me. But I treat people the same way. If I rebuke you in some way, by loving on you, by correcting you and things like that, if you don't want to receive it, that's fine by me. It's not my job to double down on the judgment. Some people don't know how to stop, okay? And because people don't know how to stop, because you didn't do it their way, because you didn't do it the way they told you to do it, how they told you to do it, with who they wanted you to do it with, not realizing that that person could be a frenemy or a foe or what these kids call it, an op. They don't realize who these people are in your lives or even who they are in your lives because they haven't placed themselves properly in your life. So it's going to be very hard to receive somebody that's going to give you a word from the Lord if they don't have a particular relationship enough with you to even share that, right? It doesn't matter what the Lord put in your heart, because this is the thing. The Lord is never going to put on your heart to share something about somebody in their life unless he puts humility in you first. If there's no humility in your spirit, you have no reason to judge anyone, because to judge justly is to approach humbly. Did you know that? If you want to judge someone by the power of God's word, if he put in your spirit, you really got a burden for that, you really got to get it out, you really got to share, I got to share this with you. I know you ain't going to want to hear this, but you got to hear this anyway. If that is really the case, he's going to allow you to keep a humble spirit through it all, even if the person does not receive it. You understand? And there is no abundance that's going to line up with that. I don't care how anointed we are. I don't care how honest we're trying to be. I don't care how much God put on your heart. It matters on how you approach that person, because God is going to judge you if you don't properly approach that person, even if he puts it in your heart of judgment. Does that make sense? So you cannot judge justly unless you approach humbly. Remember that. And here is the last thing that you must have, a part of this package, in order to reach to a place of abundance, because this is a package deal, you see. If you don't have these three factors, you will never understand what abundance looks like. Righteousness is the first one. Honesty is the other one, because you be righteous, do right things, and still be dishonest. You see what I'm saying? The little white lies, that's still dishonesty. Partial honesty is still dishonesty. So you got righteousness, you got honesty, and the last one, grace. The reason why you have to be gracious to others is because you got to treat people the way you want to be treated. You got to love your neighbor as yourself. You got to submit yourself unto others as they ought to submit to you. The word says, submit yourselves one to another. Grace is giving somebody something even when they don't deserve it. Grace is a gift. You see, if we cannot give grace to a person, it's because we don't have it in our hearts to give it. Granted, right? But if we don't have a heart to give grace, that's because we have not mastered righteousness and honesty. The reason why you have to master those things before you start to give people grace is because when you're righteous and you treat people right, honesty, which is partially you treating yourself right? So you don't have to worry about anything getting hardened or blackened or there any voice being there. And if there is any voice, at least you'll be able to even extend yourself some grace first to practice the mastery of grace, right? Because sometimes you have to be patient with yourself as well, right? And being patient with others, that's a gift of grace. That's a form of grace. Being patient, being merciful, being understanding, being transparent. See, honesty and transparency, they're twins. You cannot have one without the other. You can do one without the other. But in order to truly have honesty, you see what I mean? Because full honesty, there's a such thing as partial honesty, like I said, right? So you can be partially honest. That doesn't mean you still wasn't honest. You were partially honest. But in your partiality, okay, of your honesty, it's still going to leave a void of your transparency. So you cannot be transparent if you're not totally honest, which is partial honesty, right? You have to master those things. And the only reason why you can be honest enough is because you're righteous enough. You want to remain integral through it all. And you cannot remain integral if you can at least be honest enough with yourself and seeing what's going on with you and being able to share what's going on with you to others. Of course, you want to be selective. You want to be discreet. You want to have a right discretion or a particular poise when it comes to sharing who you truly are on the inside to other people. By all means, I'm an advocate of this. Share it with only the people you know are going to cover you. Do not share with people that you know is a loose end in your life. Just because you want to fill in the blanks or you want to fill in the silence of the conversation because everybody went silent for about 10, 15 seconds. And that's the only thing that came up in your mind and you just want to break the silence. Don't do that. Don't do that. You putting yourself out there. It's a form of self-sabotage. It's a form of unconscious cruelty. You see what I'm saying? Because you're giving your enemies, who may be your enemies, ammunition to use against you later on because it was never meant to be your covering. The reason why they're not your covering is because your connection did not lead to a covenant. You have to have a covenant before you have a covering. Connection, commitment, covenant, then covering. I'm going to say it again. Connection, commitment, covenant, then covering. If we cannot get those things in order, we would never be able to reach to a place of abundance. And those things can never come to play to where we can finish out this package of righteousness, honesty, and grace. You hear what I'm saying? So just remember that moving forward. Righteousness, honesty, and grace. I'm sure it's not limited to just those three things, but I want to keep it very short and sweet just to make sure I'm not taking too much of your time. Keep your eyes open out there. Keep your head on the swivel. Be intentional, okay? Be unwavering. Be very careful and be very discerning. As I always say, my name is Miss Awaken. If anybody forgets, the acronym is Ancestry, Worth, Acclimate, Yield, Kinship, I love you, and never judging. I hope that bless you as much as pondering, and all of those things bless me. And I love every single one of you. God bless you and God keep you.